All right, and we are live. First panel for Saturday at AradaniCon 2021. I'm here with Bethany. She is a wonderful cosplayer that we've known for years. You even worked with us for a little bit, which was awesome.
That's no better.
And you are going to be doing paneling on leveling up your cosplay. And I can't think of a better person, because when I see you do a cosplay, sometimes I don't recognize you at all. Sometimes it's like definitely you, and other times like, wait, you know, like the way you do with makeup and stuff like that. It's great. So now you're going to teach us all the magics, and you can show me how to transform myself too, right?
Yeah, just some tips and tricks on how to do it.
Awesome. All right, so I will hand the floor over to you.
All right. Okay, so I've been cosplaying for about, I want to say like 13, 14 years, but like I'm still learning a lot. Like today I found out I should put baby powder under this because this is PVC and I'm already sweating. So, you know, everything I'm talking about, like, you may know, you may not know. So it's just kind of one of those, like, here's some little tips and tricks that you can do to kind of make your cosplay go up another notch. So I guess the first thing I'll talk about is like a costume. You don't have to make your own costume to be a good cosplayer. It's something that I didn't know for the longest time, and I thought that I had to make everything from scratch. And then when I figured out you don't, it just took so much more stress and away, and it's like cheaper sometimes too. But I know that when you do buy your costumes, if you're not getting them customized to your size, sometimes they can look a little weird and they can hang weird on you. So there are things you can do if you do buy your costume that I've figured out, like tailoring your costume to your body. And I understand that, you know, not everybody can sew, but you don't really need to sew to do this. You can just do little hand stitching and stuff. What I like to do is if you are in between sizes on the website, go for the slightly bigger size, because you can always take it in. You can't let things out like that, because most of the time they're serged, and you can't pick a serge unless you want to be there all day. So what I like to do, if I buy my outfit, I like to put it on inside out, get a friend, get them to pin you in the places that you need to take it in. And once you do that and you put it all together, once you put your costume back on, it's going to look like you made it to tailor to your size. So that's a good little cheat to kind of take something that you bought and make it your own. Obviously, you can't enter costume contests with something you bought, but if you're just going to have fun, that's all that matters, right?
I think I think that's really cool. You sent that over earlier, and I was thinking about when you sent it to me about buying the costume, how there's like a pressure to have to make everything on your own.
Yeah.
And I like the movement that's happening in cosplay now, where it's not about, like, I think I've seen you post on your Instagram about, like, you don't have to look exactly like the person. If you want to do this, do it, you know? And,
exactly. I'm definitely about, you know, if you like a character, you do that character. I don't care if you look like that character or not. Just do it and have fun. That's all cosplay is to have fun. But yeah, so going forward from that, you can also, I know there's a panel on embellishing your costumes, I think after this. So they might talk more about how to do this, but you can always add things to costumes you've bought to kind of make it look like, make it pop more. So like if you bought, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of a costume off the top of my head and now I can't, of course. But say you had like Amelia from Treasure Planet, and you bought just like a plain costume. It doesn't have anything on it. You can go to Joann's or any craft store that has trims. I highly recommend just buying trims that you can add to the costume. It will make it pop so much more. You can replace buttons and get better buttons because they're so easy to sew on. And with trims, you don't have to sew it. You can just hot glue it. I've done that so many times. Hot glue is your friend. And so is E6000. But yeah, another thing I like to do is if your costume kind of like seems flat, like say you have a jacket, like you're doing Trunks from Dragon Ball Z, and you buy a blue jacket that you can use for his jacket. What I like to do is I like to dry brush acrylic paint like where the seams are, and it just gives it a little more dimension, and it doesn't, it kind of just makes like, it gives it a little more battle damage or age, I guess. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is.
Weathered?
Yeah, weathered. That's it. But you know, little things like that to just kind of make something that's super one tone flat. It'll just make it kind of oomph. It gives it oomph. But yeah, let's see.
Is there a costume you've done that you've had to weather up a lot? Like,
yeah, I'm actually working on a Trunks costume right now, which is why I said that one. So like I bought just a plain blue pleather jacket. I bought a patch online. I added the patch on the side, and then I'm going through right now and I'm just dry brushing black acrylic paint. And then I'm taking some white acrylic and dry brushing it off, and then kind of wiping it off a little bit so it's not so out there. But it's making it look like I've had this jacket for years instead of it's brand new. So I highly recommend doing that if you need, like, especially for like Fallout costumes or like Apocalypse costumes, stuff like that. Definitely do that on those because nobody's cleaning an Apocalypse ever. So at conventions, I know it gets hot a lot. And if you're a sweaty person, but you have like a photo shoot to go to, like say it's AradaniCon, it's the middle of summer and it's hot outside. You've got a costume that like you don't have a jacket over, or you're really worried because you sweat and you have pit stains. It's weird, but it works. I recommend taking panty liners and sticking them in the armpit of your costume or wherever you sweat, so it'll just kind of absorb it, and you won't see it in pictures. As long as you don't like let it bunch up or anything. But like that's a weird suggestion, but also I've done it. So, and it works. And it'll make you feel better because you'll see your photos and be like, yes, I did not sweat that day, except I was sweating profusely. Let's see. Oh, and then if you have costumes that are made like out of spandex, especially. This goes for anybody. I highly, highly, highly recommend wearing Spanx under your spandex because it'll get rid of your panty lines. It'll also just like, you know, say you've got a little more, gosh, words are hard today. But just say like you want to smooth things out, you know, on your legs, anywhere. Spanx are like, I mean, it's going to be a little warmer, but it's going to take everything that you don't like and just smooth it out. You don't have to worry about, you know, that dreaded camel toe in pictures. For guys, I always please wear a dancer's belt. I know it's weird.
Please.
Yeah, but like you'll be so much happier that you wore a dancer's belt because it just smooths you down like a Ken doll instead of, you know, having, yeah.
Or if you're my brother doing his labyrinth costume, you do dancer's belt and then put a stress ball in the front, and that's the correct way to get a David Bowie look.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's good to know.
But you have to make sure it's strapped in because if it starts moving down your leg, everybody freaks out.
Oh, yeah. But then it makes for a great story. So at least you'd have that, right? Let's see. Okay, I think that's all let's see. Shoes. Did I talk about shoes?
Nope.
Okay, so shoes are easy. Obviously, if you have a costume that requires like heels and you're going to be in them a lot, get some moleskin, which you can get at like Walmart, any kind of drugstore. It's usually in the shoe aisle. moleskin is the best thing I've ever put like on my feet, especially if you have shoes that rub against your heels. Especially put some moleskin on your heel, and you're not going to have it's not going to cut you, is what I'm trying to say. Your feet might still hurt after a while, obviously. There's really no way around that. But if you do have uncomfortable shoes, there are little, they're called ballerina flats. But I always pack those in like whatever bag I have with me, because I always have a bag with me. So that if I'm like walking around or I'm in the dealer hall or something, and like I'm just like, I need to take these shoes off, I can always just pull my little ballerina flats out, take a break from whatever shoes I'm wearing, walk around, and then if somebody wants a picture, I can just easily slip my other shoes back on. But I always recommend carrying those around. I know that people are like, I don't want to carry around a bag, but honestly, it's better to just carry around a bag than have your hands full of things and have to put them down all the time. Let's see. I'm going to move on to wigs now. Wigs are an animal I'm still figuring out. So like somebody probably has more information and better advice on wigs, but a few things I've learned through the years on how to make, like, maybe you have a really shiny wig, or like maybe you got a cheap wig from Amazon and you need to like zhuzh it up a little bit. There are some things you can do just to make sure it like lays better on your head. Like if you don't want to style your wig and you just need to wear it right out of the bag, something that I help so you don't get like that fresh out of the bag wig style where it's like kind of flat and stuff, just take it and give it like a good fling or two. It'll help like loosen it up and fluff it up a little. Obviously, if it's a long wig, be careful because you're going to get it tangled, but like just a good 1-2 fling, that helps get rid of the parts that may like have crinkled, or you know what I'm talking about. Let's see. Sorry, I lost my place. It's good. Okay, so if you have a wig and like I know some people, I'm very lucky to where I don't have, really long sideburns, and my hair is like super light naturally. So like I can get away with not doing this, but I know I have a couple of friends, they have super dark hair, they have sideburns, and sometimes it's just like, your wig will lift up a little bit and you can just see your under hair. Something that you can do to help with that is even if it's not a lace front wig, just take some pieces of your wig, like right here, get like some eyelash glue or anything, any kind of glue like that, and then just like glue it to the side of your face, let it sit there for a minute, and then in pictures, you're not going to see the underside of your hair. You can also do that for the back, but I don't think you really need to do it for the back because it's going to catch your baby hairs back there, and that's uncomfortable. But definitely for like the sides, I recommend that. It just kind of makes it look like it's your hair instead of a wig, if that makes sense. And it won't pop up in pictures that you are wearing a wig.
Do you have any tips for cheap wigs? Because a lot of us don't get the best wigs. How do you make a cheaper wig look better? Do you have any tips for that?
Yeah. So with cheap wigs, definitely read reviews. Like if you're going to get a wig on Amazon, read the reviews, because I've been burned on there before, and sometimes the wigs you get there are not fixable. But if you get like a cheap wig on Amazon and it is fixable, stuff I like to do is tease it so it's not so flat. So like mostly like the root parts or the bang parts, I like to take like a little teasing comb, tease it up a little bit, and then like you just flatten it out with the same teasing comb. Don't comb all the way through the tease, because then it just kind of negates all the work you did. But it helps fluff it up a lot. Something else you can do if the wig is like super duper shiny and it just looks cheap, there are 2 methods you can do. The really quick one is to take dry shampoo and just kind of give it a little dusting. Obviously, if you have like a dark wig, try and get the dark dry shampoo. But if it's a light wig, just be careful because like you'll get powdery if you use too much. But dry shampoo really does help take a lot of the shine out of cheap wigs. The other method you can do is it takes a little longer. It's definitely something you have to do way, way, way before the con. You can take this really only works on synthetic wigs though. So you can take your synthetic wig, take fabric softener, and just soak it in fabric softener for like I usually do it for a couple of hours. You can do it for a whole day if you want to. And then it also makes it smell good. So it won't smell like a cheap wig. But take it, dip it in fabric softener for a couple of hours, and then rinse it out, let it dry. Don't comb it when it's wet because you'll pull the knots out. But you can do that, and that'll help take like the shine away and make it look a little more expensive. If you have a wig where the wefts show through, that one's a little harder because like there's not a lot of hair there, but the teasing can help with that. Like if the wefts are up here are showing, take a portion and tease it back. But those are the methods I've used for cheap wigs that I've gotten burned on a couple of times, but like there wasn't enough time to go buy a new wig or anything, and they've worked. Let's see. I think, yeah, those are the only two methods I've done personally.
Do you know of places to get good wigs for a good price?
Yeah, there are a bunch of different places that I use. Arda Wigs is probably the most known. This is an Arda wig. They have, depending on what kind of wig you need, they have their wigs range from like $40 all the way up to $100. Amazon's good, but like I said, read the reviews because you'll get burned if you don't. Let's see. I really like, if you're up for buying maybe a little pricier of a wig, Webster Wigs is amazing. I've used them for just like daily wigs, honestly. But I've used them for cosplay wigs too. They have really nice thick wigs, so like easy to style if you have a character with a lot of hair. Rockstar Wigs is good. I've used them. Wigs and Grace is really expensive. That's like if you have like Dolly Parton as your cosplay, that's where I would go for that. But those are my go-to places for wigs. Oh yeah, so styling wigs. I'm not a hairdresser. I cut this one. It's not great. It's not bad. But like sometimes the character you're doing has a specific cut and style. And if you don't have the money to take it to a hairdresser to do it, I highly recommend looking up YouTube videos on how to cut hair. I like Brad Mondo. Brad Mondo is the one I've been using for how to cut certain styles because he kind of walks you through it. Obviously, practice makes perfect on anything. So don't do it to a wig that you spent a lot of money on your first time. Maybe do a practice run or something with a cheap wig from somewhere, or like an old wig that you know you're never going to wear again. Maybe it's like ratty and knotted and stuff, but like I highly recommend practicing on those. Don't use kitchen scissors because it's just too dull to cut. Even though this is like plastic, I just don't use kitchen scissors. But yeah, if you can make friends with a hairdresser, that's where you need to go. I made friends with a hairdresser. She's nice.
I think the best wig I ever had, I got it from Arda Wigs and I took it to a hairdresser and she was a friend, and she got all it was for Thorn Oakenshield, and she got all the grays in correctly, and it looks so good. And also getting, for a guy, I tend to not do wigs with a lot of costumes. I go get my hair cut, and finding a hairdresser that enjoys that doesn't think you're weird.
Yeah.
Like I found one here in Nashville, and she just loved every time I brought in a weird picture. She's like, "Oh, you're gonna rock this costume," and that I think that really helps.
It does. It just kind of can take your costume from like here and make it go up here. So definitely try and befriend a hairdresser or go watch tutorials, because that will just kind of elevate where you are in your costume. Definitely. Let's see. This isn't really like a thing. Like, I know that this isn't very money friendly, but I've started doing a thing where even if my character has bangs, I'll still get a lace front wig, because sometimes wigs that just come with bangs are so thick and they're so hard to thin out a lot. So what I like to do is get lace fronts and then cut the bangs in, because it looks a little more like, I don't know, it looks a little more genuine, like the bangs are growing out of your head. But I understand that that's not really something everybody can do, because lace front wigs are really expensive sometimes. But that's just like a tip that I've started doing. And I make sure that I save up for those wigs, definitely. Also, if you have a lace front wig, glue down your lace, because there's nothing worse than like I have mine glued down right now, but like, so I can't like pop it up. But sometimes, like, I have a small head, so wigs tend to not lay right if they're lace front on me. So I have to glue them down. But honestly, I've found that it also helps secure it to your head, so you don't have to use bobby pins as much, which can give you a headache if you put them in wrong. Also, it just, you won't have to deal with it like lifting. You won't have to deal with your wig sliding back because it's glued down properly. I just always, always, always glue down your lace fronts if you can. And you can use, what I like to do when I glue down my wigs is I use like maybe a drop of eyelash glue here and there, and then like smear it over. You can use Pros-Aid. If you don't want glue on your skin, you can use that Got to Be glued, the yellow can, and you can do a couple of layers, let it dry with the blow dryer, and then press it down. That one doesn't hold if you're sweating, though. Like, if you're gonna sweat, I don't recommend that, because it's water-based, so your sweat will just ruin that. But Pros-Aid's my favorite. Eyelash glue does in a pinch. Also, you always have that on you. Any other questions about wigs? Because I'll move on to makeup next.
I think we're good. Yeah, I'm excited about the makeup part.
Okay. Yay. So obviously with makeup, practice makes perfect. I've been doing makeup for a long time, but I look at pictures from when I was a younger cosplayer, like newer, and I cannot tell you how much I cringe now, because I just look at those and I'm like, why didn't I do these things? It's because I didn't know. And the good thing about the cosplay community now, as opposed to back in the day, is people are more willing to talk about how they got from point A to point B instead of keeping it a secret, which I really appreciate, because back in the day, people were just like, I'm not telling you how I did this because you'll just do it. And now it's better because people are like, let me tell you how I did this, and you can use it if you want to. So makeup can definitely help make or break a character. And I understand not everybody's a makeup artist, but if you do struggle with makeup, do makeup tests before a con, because every time you do a makeup test, you will get better and better and better at doing that character. What I like to do on makeup tests, because, when you're looking in the mirror and you're just like, something seems off, I can't figure it out. I like to record what I did, like with my phone, so I can see the step-by-step process of what I did. And then I like to take pictures, and then I'll take a break. I'll do something else. I'll go back and I'll look, and then I'll compare my pictures to the character I'm doing. And I'll be like, oh, I forgot to do this step, or she or he has maybe this scar that I forgot, or like maybe my contour is off slightly. So it helps you kind of shape your face to the character more if you can take pictures of you as the character and put it next to the picture of the character. Another thing, I cannot stress this fill in your eyebrows. If you are like me, I have very, very, very light eyebrows, which means I have 0 eyebrows when I don't have makeup on. I always have to draw them in. And there were years and years where I did not know that I was supposed to fill in my eyebrows. And I looked like an alien with no eyebrows. Like, the only person who can pull off no eyebrows is like if you're doing Gaara from Naruto or something. Like, so please fill in your eyebrows. And then also, if your character has like say you're doing Sakura from Naruto, I like to do pink eyebrows on that because it just kind of pulls it in, makes you believe that, you know, that character actually does have pink hair and they didn't just dye their hair. I didn't do that for Faye because I did not have purple eyeshadow with me, but I like to match my eyebrows to whatever wig color I have. Unless, you know, that's not the character, then don't do that. And then also, and this one really goes for more female presenting characters. But if you just want to wear false eyelashes, do it. If you're doing a photo shoot, definitely wear fake eyelashes because it'll make your eyes bigger. It'll bring them out in the photo. It gives you a lot more expression. It will, especially like if you have dark makeup on, like if your character has really dark eyeshadow, or like maybe they have really dark circles around their eyes, having false eyelashes is gonna make your eye pop a little more and just bring it forward so it's not so set back unless it's supposed to be set back, and then don't do that. Let's see. Highlighting the inner corner of your eyes will also make your eyes pop a lot more. And it, oh, thank you. I love Faye too. But yeah, highlighting the inner corner of your eye, not tear ducts, but you know what, this part. Doing that will it takes the attention and pulls it towards your face. So it'll be like center, people will be looking at your face more. And let's see.
So how do you highlight that? Like, what do you, just like a lighter makeup, as a person that doesn't wear much makeup?
Yeah, so you can take like a lighter eyeshadow, like a shimmery eyeshadow, and just take a little brush and put it right here. If you have a highlighter palette, you can do highlighter palette. If you don't have any of that and you have like a little bit of like glitter right there works. Just anything that's like a shimmery or a white would work right here. Let's see, I'm trying to think of what else you could use, but yeah, like it doesn't have to be specifically a highlighter. You can just use eyeshadow, which is mostly what I do. I highlight with eyeshadow all the time. Let's see. For male characters, I know that a lot of guys don't like wearing makeup, or like it's like they don't know how to do it. And I'm not trying to generalize, like guys all do this, but you know, if a guy is not comfortable with wearing makeup, I still highly suggest, if you're doing an anime character at least, eyeliner. Eyeliner makes everybody look amazing and nobody can tell me different. But yeah, if you can just like, you don't even have to do like cat eyes, just like a little bit of either brown, maybe not black, but like a darker brown, just to kind of bring out your eyes, will make your character just pop a little more. It'll look, I don't know what the word I'm trying to find is, but it'll just kind of like, it'll bring out your face in the character. You can also do like a little bit of eyeshadow. Like I know for a lot of characters, they have like contoured eyes, and I'm still learning how to do this. So like by all means, go look at a tutorial on YouTube, because contouring is hard and I have still not mastered it. But like, say your character has super high cheekbones, so you need to take, you can either do eyeshadow, like a powder contour kit. You can do liquid contour kits. I'm not good at those yet, so I always stick with powder because powder is a little easier to fix for me. But like, say, you know, your character is a dude and it has super sharp cheekbones. You just take your contour and like go above your cheekbone to make it just kind of cut a little more. Like, I used to put it in my cheekbone, but honestly, I do it above my cheekbone now because it kind of just gives it that much more of a drastic angle. Obviously not in daytime makeup if you're just going out, but like if you're cosplaying, just accentuate your features a little more and it'll just kind of make your makeup pop out. It'll make you kind of form into that character a little more. Same with highlighter. If you eyeshadow, mascara, whatever, if your character has high points of their face, that's where you're going to put the highlighter. So say they have like an upturned nose, you're going to put the highlighter right on the tip of your nose, or they have like a chin that is prominent, you can put the highlighter on the chin area. It's kind of like painting. So yeah.
Yeah, bring the focal point to where it needs to be, sort of playing with light when you don't have the light to move. You know, because when you're at a convention, you can't control the lighting, and it's often awful lighting.
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%. I agree. It also, contouring will, if you're wearing foundation just makes your face very flat. So you really do need to add color back into your face, and that's where the contouring and highlighting comes in too. And also lipstick. I forgot to bring my red lipstick, but so don't do what I just did and look like a ghost. Make sure that you put color back into your lips as well. You can use, obviously, if your character has lipstick, do that. But if your character just has nude lips, just like the slightest pinkest little lip stain or lipstick, you can just dab it on. You don't have to do a full lip. What I like to do is I just like to dab it on and then rub it together. That way it's like I didn't do like fancy lips if my character is not supposed to be fancy. But it does help your lips. It makes you not look dead unless you're going for that, and then look dead, right?
So I have a question with the makeup. Do you have any tips? So, like, obviously you're going to look at the reference photo of the character you're trying to do, but do you have to worry about the makeup matching your costume or clashing with your costume? Like, how do you know, if you're wearing a purple wig like you are now,
yeah,
if you wear something that you don't think is blue, it could end up looking very blue, right?
right.
You know?
Yeah, there, like you said, sometimes it really just depends on your skin tone and like how you're gonna work with it. I'm a very avid person of, it does not have to be exactly like that character. Like, say maybe blue is not good on you, take it a shade darker or a shade lighter. You don't even have to use blue. Maybe green is your thing. There's like a blue green that you can use. You know, you can definitely fudge your colors to make it look better on you. And I 100% tell people to do that. The same goes with your costume. Maybe like your costume, the character wears really low sitting pants, but like you're not comfortable with that. I just take them higher, take them to where you're supposed to, or where you're comfortable with it. Because all in all, like when you are comfortable in your costume, you are more confident, and it will look so much more confident in pictures, and you'll just rock it so much more. So definitely, if you need to fudge something, fudge it. Just do it. Did that answer your makeup question? I'm really not sure if I answered that.
Yeah, no.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Another thing on like when you put everything together, I like to do a whole costume test. It's kind of like a dress rehearsal for a play. Put everything together, put your makeup on, put your shoes, your props, your wig, everything on, walk around in it for an hour. Make sure nothing falls off, make sure you're comfortable. You know, if something keeps sliding down, wig tape is my favorite thing to use. And I used to get it from the costume shop in Nashville, but now they closed. But you can get wig tape online too. It's strong. I never use it for wigs because my makeup gets in the way, but it's strong enough that like if I have stockings, I like to put it on my legs and it keeps them up all day. You know, if you have attachments that go like on your shoulders, move around, because, you know, at conventions, people are going to bump into you. People are going to touch you without your permission. And you don't want things to fall off your costume. You don't want it to be like super duper fragile. So I highly recommend just putting everything on, walk around in it, kind of like do motions with your hands and stuff, just to make sure it's all secure, it's not going to fall off, and you can just not worry about it while you're at the con. Also, another thing you can do when you have your test going is you can set up like a phone or a camera, do a self-timer, and then practice your poses so that you can see what you're going to look like when somebody asks for your picture. And you can pick a pose that you feel good in and you feel confident in that matches your character too. Those are all my notes. I flew through this apparently.
So for when you're doing makeup,
Mm-hmm.
would you recommend doing full body spandex or doing makeup for a costume? Like, let's say you're doing, you know, like Avatar, like Jim Cameron's Avatar, not the other one.
Blue Avatar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're doing makeup and like your whole body needs to be covered, like especially Steven Universe, stuff like that, where the characters are different colors, what I like to do is get a colored what's it called, like a bodysuit. Basically get a bodysuit that's as close to that color as you can get it, or maybe you can dye it. We Love Color is one of my favorite places to get like stockings. And what a lot of people do is they just go to We Love Color, get their tights, the opaque tights, and they make them into like gloves and stuff. And that way, like, you're not having to worry about your body paint coming off on everybody or like smearing. But if you do want to do body paint, obviously that's going to take a lot longer to do and you're going to have to be more careful. But there is a body painter on YouTube called Made You Look, and she taught me how to do like not streaky painting jobs, like especially on my face and stuff. Let's see. But honestly, I would recommend just doing a bodysuit, especially if you're going to be at a con, because you don't want it to rub off. You don't want to have to stand like this all day. You know, you want to be able to touch things and give hugs.
Have you done much with airbrushing?
I want to. I haven't gotten to experiment with that yet, but I would love to learn how to airbrush. Definitely.
Yeah, at Aradani, when we did a lot more costumes at conventions, we got a cheap airbrush from Harbor Freight that was like $40.
Nice.
And that changed everything for doing large areas. Like when Paul did the Ice King and I did light blue all over him, I couldn't believe how well it stuck. So
that's awesome.
I'm not an expert by far. I mean, we got, you know, the cheapest airbrush compressor, but it did some pretty amazing stuff.
That's awesome. And that just proves you don't have to spend a whole lot of money for something, especially if you're just learning. So that's good. Oh, makeup brand recommendations. Let's see. My favorite makeup is by Morphe. I love they have so many eyeshadow palettes and they're not expensive. Like they have some that they have like 40 colors in them, and it was like maybe $38-40. I love Morphe. They also have very nicely priced brushes. And you know, their eyeliner is great too. But that's my go-to. Spray paint. Okay. Okay, I'll have to look at that spray paint. What's it called?
I think at Aradani we use Krylon a lot. Okay. It always dries, and we use that painting masks or painting horns and stuff like that. That goes all the way back to my art school days. My teacher was always like, "Get Krylon, you'll never have to worry about stuff."
There you go. Now I learned something. See, I'm still learning too.
Well, aren't we all? I mean, we'll be learning till we die.
Oh yeah.
If you're good.
People will always come up with new ways to do stuff. So
earlier you said you talked about like wearing the costume around your house for an hour. Do you have tips for how to make your costume more comfortable? Like, you know, you talked about some of the anti-sweat stuff, the baby powder. But obviously, if you're going to be at a place like AradaniCon where you can't get back up to your hotel room, how do you make, you know, an intricate costume comfortable?
What?
Intricate, like something that's like really like over the top or has a lot of parts, or
let's see. It really just depends on what kind of costume it is. For like say you have a bunch of armor, and like maybe it's heavy, or you notice like it's starting to dig into part of your body, pad it. You can use felt, you can use like a little bit of batting, but I like to pad things because I'm bony, and it, like, especially if I'm in a corset all day, which corsets are just never going to be comfortable, but I like to pad under the corset so it's not digging into my hip bones all the time. Definitely just making sure that your costume is secure to you is going to make it 1000% more comfortable because you're not worrying about it. But let's see, if I'm trying to think of other examples. Yeah,
sometimes you're just uncomfortable in a costume, like there's no way around it.
Yeah, sometimes costumes are just uncomfortable and there's nothing you can do about it. But like earlier I said, I just found out that I should probably put baby powder under this before I wear it because now it's like sticking to me. So this was a test, and now I know that for when I do wear it at a convention.
Let's see, does anyone watching have any questions? Just type it in the chat. Oh, my wife is sliding me questions. We're getting questions the old school way. Oh, this is a good one. Because, you know, fabrics can really change how people view the costume.
Oh, yeah.
How would you recommend to translate animated character costumes to real life? Like, what fabrics do you use? Do you go synthetic? Do you go real? What do you do?
So when I'm translating a character, like, okay, so like for Faye, you know, her outfit in the show is just yellow, right? But I chose PVC because I was trying to figure out how I was going to translate what she was wearing in the show and make it kind of just pop more, like maybe she was actually shopping and saw it. So what I recommend is, if you can, go physically into a store with like a picture of your character and touch the fabric. I like to feel it, like how heavy a fabric is, maybe the textures. Adding texture to your costume will just make it that much better. So maybe like a character just has very flat colors. You can get fabric that maybe has like a small pattern on it, or maybe you get a brocade instead of just doing like a silk or something like that. Just adding in textures and patterns will make your character just shine a little more, if that makes sense. Also, never use sassy satin. That is the worst fabric you could ever pick out. It's so flat, it's so thin, it frays terribly, and it never lays right. So even like if you are trying to save money, I would just go a little, like a tier up from that. Don't go for the cheapest fabric you can use because it's just gonna look cheap, you know. But yeah, textures and patterns definitely.
Yeah, going through the clearance aisle of Joann's,
yeah,
you can always find like something that's close to the color you're looking for, but those clearance fabrics always have that texture to it. That's better than what's the fabric that's along the back wall that's real cheap?
Oh yeah, like the broad, well, what's it called? It's like the really thin cotton stuff.
Right, yeah. It's like if you make your costume out of that, it's all gonna hang the same. It's gonna look like, oh, you got that on the back wall at Joann's.
Yeah.
But when you get that weird clearance thing that there's only 2 yards of it, you know, you're like, oh, this is going to add some flair to what I'm doing.
Exactly. 100%.
So let's see. Well, talk about fabrics to use. Paula asked, how do you suggest cooling off when you get overheated in a costume?
Water. Bring water with you everywhere. Also, what I like to do is carry around like those really small battery operated fans you can find. Like you can get them, especially in the summer, like from Walgreens and stuff. I like if you have a hot costume, carry around that fan. You can just put it in like a fanny pack or something. But when you get hot, just like bring it out, fan your face for a while, drink some water. Another thing I've seen people do, and this is like a Renaissance fair thing, but you can get those like little pouches, put like an ice cube in it and like let it hang around your chest because that'll cool you off too. It really just depends on your costume and what you can get away with, I guess. But I recommend the little battery operated fans because those have saved my life, especially at DragonCon waiting in lines, or like when you're not in the dealer room and it's not frigid.
Yeah, you never know at a convention what's going to happen. You know, one time at DragonCon, they closed down the Marriott. This is like 10 years ago, 11 years ago. And I was just stuck outside in a full latex costume for 2 hours because we couldn't go in, we couldn't leave, you know, and you have to plan for stuff like that. Luckily, I had a lot of water on me.
That's good, yeah. And everybody's selling water at conventions anyway. But yeah, always have like water or access to fluids because that's really going to save you if you get hot. Is you just really need fluids, but also the fan too.
All right, well, I think I've gone through all of my questions. I love my favorite note that I've taken is just a big thing that says fudge it. Yep.
That's my motto, just fudge it. Like if somebody's going to come at you with the whole, this isn't accurate, who cares? Who are they? You're never going to see them again. Just fudge it.
Yep. All right. Well, Bethany, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I think we learned a lot today and excited to see what other things you do in the future. So where can we find you when you're not on AradaniCon panels?
Oh, my Instagram, I'm always on there. It's at MsPepper.Potts. So there's a period in between it. I also have a Facebook page. It's just at Ms Pepper Potts. What else do I have? Those are really the 2 places that I am most active. Instagram's the best way to get to me, though, because you can send me messages on there. So give me a follow. Oh, thank you, Brian.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us. And, you know, if we do this next year, I hope you'll come back and bring more tips for us.
I would love to. Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, we have some more panels coming up later on today. What's the next one? Didn't you mention it earlier? I'm in charge of it. I don't remember.
I think it's embellishing your cosplay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that will be head over to Twitch and watch the next one that starts up in about 10 minutes. All right. Well, thanks, Bethany. Thanks, everyone. And we'll see you later.